Hello, welcome to this edition of Yin Yoga. So today, our peak pose is going to be half saddle. So I'll kind of explain that to you once we get there. You'll have different options. Different people will be doing different things. Totally okay. Takes a long time to master it. So I'll give different options. As we prepare the spine and different things there, few things for props I recommend. Maybe a folded blanket or two. I like to sit on these, and you just never know when something just might need a little bit of extra cushion. And I'm going to highly recommend a bolster cushion here or something that's a little bit sturdier. So you could use pillows if they're nice and firm. And what we'll do with that is we will do a supported back bend with it in preparation for half saddle. Those of you that are older or maybe have some back injuries, we're going all the way back, and half saddle is not for you. It's not for me. So I like to modify that with my bolster. That can be a great addition. And we'll do a side lying side over as well to just kind of get into the side of the body. If you don't have those things, blocks with a blanket over it to make it a softer surface can be a nice substitute when you don't have a bolster cushion. So that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So just get a little settled in here. Yeah, just kind of wiggle the hips, really settle the sits bones in. Find some length in the spine. So think about it a little bit, growing longer from crown to tail, but not so tall that everything is rigid. So you still want to be able to relax through the face, the shoulders, and hips. We'll zip up from pubic bone to behind the navel, or belly button into the spine. Let's take a slight tuck in the chin here. And we'll come into our practice. Good. So just notice anywhere that you could soften just a little bit more. As you inhale, can you expand that rib cage? And as you exhale, can you engage your abdominals just a little bit more? So belly button comes into the spine just a little bit more, but nothing too extreme. Good. So we're going to do a 3, 5, 6 breath today. So that means we're going to inhale for 3, exhale for 6. We're going to do that 3 times just to kind of relax a little bit before we get into our practice. So from here, take a big exhale to prepare. Good. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One balancing breath, 4 by 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax here. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen, touching palms together. Exhale, hands in heart center. Reconnecting or connecting with an intention for your practice. So what would you like to give or receive from this practice today? Maybe you'd like to dedicate it to someone or something. Yourself is always an appropriate intention. And from here, once you have that set, we'll inhale, take it up, turning palms away, grow taller from crown to tail. Good, let's continue to prepare. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, we're gonna take a side bend to the left. So sits bones are grounded, and we're just gonna reach, reach, reach. Your gaze is where your body needs it to be. Breathe and expand. Now you can stay here. You can side bend deeper as long as sits bones stay grounded. Maybe you want to open a little bit to the ceiling, maybe getting that nice little shoulder opener here. Or maybe you want belly button in a little bit deeper to the spine, finding a C curve roll. Forehead in the direction of the knee, but not touching. I'm reaching long and strong from shoulder to fingertips. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, use your obliques, your side abs coming all the way back up. Big inhale. Exhale, we'll take that over to the other side. Noticing now if you've got a tighter side or maybe they both feel the same. Good. And then you choose. You can be here. You can side bend deeper. You can open towards the ceiling. Or maybe you want that C curve roll. And what you did on this side might not be what you do on the other side. Breathe and expand. Good. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, coming back up. Let's reach, reach, reach. Gentle twist to the left. So I'm going to rotate from length, taking arms down, rolling shoulders back, looking a little bit more behind me. Breathing and expanding here. Good. Inhale and lift. Exhale, center. Inhale, exhale. Take that to the other side. Arms come down. Roll the shoulders back. Look a little bit more behind you. Breathe and expand. And when you're ready, inhale, lift. Exhale, come to center. Good. So we're going to do a seated cat-cow here. And I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see a little bit better as to how I'm doing this. But you want to keep your arms long here, and you're going to use your knees a little bit as leverage, if you will. So again, I'm just going to start tall. I'm going to rest my hands on my knees. So I'm going to take it into cow. So inhale, I'm going to shine my heart forward. So I'm getting that little bit of a back bend here. Notice how my arms are long. Exhale, I'm going to round into cat. My arms stay long. Good. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. So this is also a great one to do if you sit a lot at a desk. Just doing this a few times throughout your day can be really helpful to low back pain and just opening things up. It's also nice to do it during commercial breaks of your favorite shows while you're sitting on the couch or in a recliner chair. Good. All right. And then from here, I'm just going to kind of do just a gentle movement. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to come into a child's pose here. So this is part of our preps building up to our peak pose. So for that, I'm going to just come forward here. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. But remember, you can always, use folded blankets here if your knees need more cushion. And your knees can be together as wide as your mat or a little bit wider than hips if you're not on a mat today. Or they can be somewhere in between. You can take your arms long in front of you if you want to do that, or if shoulders aren't ready quite yet, you can take them back by the ankles and letting the shoulders release. We're going to be here for 2 minutes. Good. So as you're here, zip up from pubic bone behind the navel. Keep that expansion in the breath. Notice if your body, as you get going here, wants to sink deeper as you exhale. The longer we're here, and that's fine. If it's safe for you to do so, go ahead and do so. Good. So come back to your attention. Always re-engage with that breath. The Ujjayi pranayama, that ocean breath, that whisper breath, you can always bring that in on inhales, on exhales, or both at the same time. Good. Expand. Good. And so then from here, when you're ready, taking your hands under your shoulders, carefully bringing yourself up. Good. So I hope that was a good little prep there. It's a little bit of a hip opener. It also preps our knees a little bit for some deeper work. So now we're going to come to half straddle. I'm going to bring my blanket back in here. I will face you for these. And the blanket helps just lift my hips because they tend to be a little bit tight, especially right now since I'm going through some stressful things. But it also helps you more easily get into that anterior tilt of the pelvis. So that's where the tailbone, or the hip bones rather, come forward. Tailbone goes back just a little bit here. So as we do this half saddle, I've got my left leg out. I'm going to take my right foot into the thigh. So my left leg is at this angle. And remember, we don't want it to be the widest possible. So for example, here's my widest possible. I'm going to bring that into about 85, 90-ish%. Okay. For this one, we're going to start by folding forward. Halfway through at about 1.5 minutes, we're going to do this for 3 minutes. You will decide to stay here, or you'll come out of it and you'll come over to a little bit of a twisty with me. Okay. Twisty is optional. So if just forward folding is all you need to do, stay right there. Not a big deal at all. All right. I'll get us going here. Good. So we'll be up nice and tall. Big inhale, exhale, hinge from the hips and take that hold. Now remember, if you ever need to have a bolster, pillow, or something, a prop in here to keep you from going too deep, too quick, always bring that in. So even with my fold, because we're going to be here for a while, I'm still not going to my deepest. So I'm breathing and expanding. I apologize for that ding. Sounds like I forgot to close Outlook on my computer. But you know, that's a good time to come back to my intention. My intention will be that everything will work itself out. Everything will be okay. So even though I forgot to close my email program for this recording, everything will work out. Everything will be okay. It's not the end of the world. Good. As we start to find a little bit more opening here, I'm just going to let myself drop in a little bit deeper. You know, if deeper is not okay for you, then don't go there. Be where you need to be. As we start to come up on the halfway, this is where you're going to decide. Are you going to stay here where you are? Are you going to gently walk it up? Or are you going to find a twist with me? So I'm going to rotate now towards my left. I'm going to lengthen and fold. So just a gentle twisty and a fold today. And I'm going to breathe and expand here. Good. So I just caught myself having kind of the creepy shoulder. So think about relaxing through the shoulders wherever it is that you are. Remember, your body is your ultimate guide, your ultimate teacher. So if you ever need to come out of something before I cue it, please do so. So that's going to be, you can't get good breath, you can't maintain good form, pain, numbness, tingling, burning sensations are happening somewhere. You'll know it just doesn't feel good. And then that's your cue to back off or come out completely. 30 more seconds here. Good, and then from here, when you're ready, good. Carefully come up out of the twist if you took it, and come back to center. If you stayed with the forward fold, you'll carefully come out of the forward fold. Good. From here, especially for those of us that took a little twisty, let's just do a gentle counter twist to the other side and come back to center. And we're going to switch everything out. So carefully doing that, I'm going to take my right leg out to the side. So remember, not your widest. So here's an example of my widest. I'm going to bring that in a little bit. Left foot's going to come to the thigh. Readjust if you need to that anterior tilt of the pelvis. So tailbone comes back, hip bones come forward. Good. We will get this nice and set here. And then whenever you're ready, big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, we'll hinge and we'll fold. Good. Not coming to your deepest fold just yet. Also notice too with this outstretched leg, do you have a tendency to roll things inward when you fold forward? And if you do, can you take them back towards the ceiling? And that might mean that you need to come out of your forward fold a little bit to do it. That's okay. Another thing too, some people are really tight or have a tendency, if they don't have support under their knees, to kind of force that lock, if you will. So always support your joints with something if you need that as well. Good. So my body's telling me it's safe to go a little bit deeper here in this fold. So I'm going to take that. I'm still expanding the rib cage. I'm drawing up from pubic bone behind the navel. So coming back to your intention, what was yours? Again, mine was everything's going to be okay and work out. So you can use that one as well. Good. And as we start to make it to the halfway point, you decide, are you going to stay here in this fold? Or are you going to come up a little bit out of the fold? Big inhale and lengthen. Exhale, rotate to the right, fold to the right. So just gentle rotation today. Less than 30 seconds. Okay. And then from here, when you're ready, good. If you took the fold, carefully walk yourself out of the fold and come back to center. If you stayed in the forward fold, carefully come out. Good. And then from here, those of us that took the gentle twisty, just gently twist in the other direction, and we'll come back to center. So now we're going to take full straddles. Now both legs are going to be out to the side. Good. So again, not your widest. So an example, here's my widest. I'm going to bring that in just a little bit here. And the reason we do that is to give your body a pass for movement and opening. So if we're at our widest from the start, then your body doesn't really have the space to move anywhere deeper. It also puts you at risk for injury when you go too deep too quickly. So again, take any extra support that you need. Make sure you're in that anterior tilt, tailbone behind, hip bones forward. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Flexion in the feet, toes towards your shoulders. Inhale, exhale, and we'll hinge and fold here. Good. Again, fill in any space here that you might need. 3 minutes. Breathe and expand the rib cage. Another thing here about this forward fold. So I am often most comfortable taking my hands and forearms down in front of me. Other people like different things, and those things are not wrong. Some people like to take hands to the shins or the foot or the yogi toe. That's always acceptable as well. Relax through your shoulders. Think about head and neck being an extension of the spine, so there's nothing on your chest that your chin needs to touch. There's nothing on the ceiling in front of you that you need to, or a wall in front of you rather, that you need to look at. Gaze is right off the tip of my nose. And then again, as your body feels ready, and you'll know, you can sink in a little bit deeper if it's okay for you on your exhales. Another reason why we don't go into our deepest right off the bat is because then when your body is ready to sink deeper, there's nowhere for it to go if it doesn't have that space. So again, this one can feel intense, the full, pretty quick. So if it becomes too intense for you, just back off a little bit. Maybe you just need to come up a little higher versus sinking deeper. That's okay. In about 40 seconds. Ten seconds. Good. So from here, carefully walk yourself out of there. Good. Okay. Now, because you've kind of been a little stretchy here, we're going to come out of this a little bit more gently too. So take your peace fingers, take them behind your knees, and just kind of pull that up a little bit. And if it would feel okay for you to take hands behind you a little bit and just do a little windshield wiper. Remember, you can take these as deep as your body will let you. Sometimes that can feel really good after that one. Okay, we're going to come to caterpillar now, which is our seated forward fold. Another forward fold, I know, but it's going to be a little bit deeper into the low back here. So for today, I'll do this one sideways as well. So I'm just going to bring my blanket here for me to sit on. And this is another great one where if you need to not go as deep, you can bring that nice bolster or whatever prop you need to help you with this one as well. I'm going to place this here. Good. Now this one, nothing too deep here today. This is also going to be another 3-minute one. Support the backs of your knees if you need to. And if you need to sit higher, sit higher. So from here, good. And I'm going to recommend flexion in the feet. So toes are going to be towards the face. Big inhale, reach and lengthen. Exhale, hinge and fold. And when you can come no more at the flat back, arms will come down and you'll start to gradually come into that little bit of a C curve. So breathe into the back body, breathe into this area right here. You may or may not touch your feet or your toes, and that's okay. And again, not your deepest fold in the beginning. And we're coming up on the halfway point. Your body might naturally sink deeper here without your awareness as it's ready. My belly button is still in here, even though I'm in a forward fold, I'm not letting it go. And I'm staying with my breath. So you can also use your intention as a way to manifest. So for me, with things working out and everything being okay, maybe picturing in my mind everything working out and being okay versus the worst case scenario. Good. So from here, remember, we just never want to snap out of here. So carefully, we'll come back up from here. Good. Now, again, if it would make you feel better if you took just a gentle rotation in one direction and a gentle rotation in the other, you can take it. We're going to counter that flexion with a little bit of extension, and we're going to do that with the supported back bend. And so for this one, I'm going to bring in my bolster. Now, again, you can still sit up on a blanket if you need to. I'm going to take my blanket away for this one. And based on different heights and different varying degrees of our bodies, some of you might take a pillow or something here, and you might put another folded blanket on top of that. Maybe you need something a little bit higher. Those of you that don't have that, remember the little trick. You can use your blocks here. I would have them side by side. You'll have them on the floor. You'll drape a blanket or two over that so it's a softer surface. But, and these, if you're using these are gonna go right up here, right below the bra line or your shoulder blades. They won't be down here because you won't have the support and the softness to do that. So here I am with my bolster. I'm gonna take my legs long. You can also have knees bent here, which is actually probably what I'm going to do. It's going to be a little bit better. Good. And then I'm just going to let myself guide it down here, rolling over this bolster. So I want my shoulders to be free. I'm going to take my head back here. Some of you will want to have a folded blanket or something like that to support the head. There's nothing wrong with that either. So we do what we need to do. We'll be here for 3 minutes as well. And we're just letting everything counter what we did in the last one. We're letting the heart open. Come back to the breath, come back to the intention. If you're tightening up here, could you relax that a little bit? Sometimes, like you're seeing me do now, if you can see me, I like to kind of take my knees from side to side a little bit, gives my low back just a little bit of massage, and then sometimes that can help things settle down a little bit. We often underestimate how deep we get into those muscles when we're in caterpillar for a few moments. So sometimes you need to calm down a little bit before we settle into the next one. Remember, we're still zipped up through the front body. The front body helps us be able to bend in the back body or be more supported in the back body. Always coming back to breath, coming back to intention. Good. So from here, when we're ready, I would recommend coming out in the best way for you. So some of you are going to nod your chin. You're going to come up forward. I'm going to bend one knee. I'm going to roll over to my side and then come up from here. Good. And then from here, just take a moment. We've been down there for a while when we came up. So just take a moment here. And then we're going to prepare for half saddle. So I'm just going to leave my bolster right where it is. I am going to bring in my folded blanket because this one works better for me when I'm up a little bit higher. So those of us that have cranky knees, something like that, sitting up higher will make that a little bit easier for you. And I'm actually going to move this way. Good. Now, what you're seeing me do here is I am kind of preparing. When I take my leg back, I don't want my foot to get caught in my blanket. So I'm just kind of moving my blanket to the side, but I'm still going to sit on it. Good. And I'm sitting up against my bolster. Good. Now, to get into here, I'm going to take my left leg forward, and I'm just using right leg first because that's the side that I'm facing camera on. And then I'm going to roll over to my left. I'm going to bend my right knee, and I'm going to try and take this foot back behind me here. So now I'm supported on my base blanket and mat. Forgot what this was for a minute, in my mat. And my foot's not being tangled up in my supported blankets that I'm sitting on. So I'm just going to kind of just adjust here a little bit. And everyone can probably take a little bit of an adjustment and won't be extreme, but you want to think about your left hip coming back a little bit. Your right hip's going to come forward a little bit. Ideally, this hip and knee come into alignment here. As you can see, that's not where I am. I'm kind of right here. So there's about this much space, but we do what we can and we don't worry about what we can't. So we'll start here for 3 minutes. And some of you might need to stay upright this entire time. Those of you that are going to go back a little bit with me, I'll show you that when we get there. But maybe in the meantime, you just want to rub a little bit through the shin, tops of the foot. Maybe you want to kind of rub this area around here and the quads and the muscles around that knee. Sometimes this rubbing or just kind of a little bit of a hooky kind of sensation can help that fascia release a little bit here too, make it a little bit less tight. Good. Now we've been here for almost a minute, so I'm going to offer different options. Some of you are going to stay right here because going back farther is not a good idea for your knee, your back, or anything else. Some of you are going to play a little bit. Maybe you take your hands behind you and you just come back a little bit here. Okay, so if you're going back, this knee stays grounded. It should not be floating up in the air. That's very, very risky. Others are going to be okay to take this back a little bit more as long as you're supported. This is especially true if you've had back issues or you're like me, you're just getting a little bit older and a full back bend from here is just not a good idea. So always be supported. So I can do this with relative ease, with support. This is not something I would do for myself without support of my bolster. Also note here how my knee is grounded. It is not floating up. And sometimes you can help it by holding on to your ankle a little bit. But I'm still feeling that nice opening in my quad. I don't have any pain here. So pain, numbness, tingling, burning, again, not normal. And you'll want to carefully come out if you need to do that. And breathe and expand. Reconnect with intention. Did you lose your core connection? Could you zip up from the pubic bone to behind the navel again? Good. And there's our timer. So from here, I'm going to nod my chin. I'm going to take hands back a little bit more behind me, and I'm going to carefully come up out of here. That's the best way for me to come out of here. If there's a better way for your body to come out, that's fine too. But we always want to come out of this easy. Knees a little vulnerable here. So I'm going to roll over to my left side, carefully undo. And then I'm just going to rub this out. And from here, we'll take that right into the other side. Now, from here, you're fine where you are. I'm just going to readjust my props here so that you can see the other knee. And then I'm just going to bring this blanket in. And so just like before, I'm adjusting where my blanket is with respect to my bolster, just so that my foot and everything doesn't get caught up in it. So now my right leg is going to come forward. Good. And again, on these two, if you need to support this knee of the outstretched leg, always do so. I'm going to roll over onto my right. I'm going to grab my left ankle or leg, wherever you can reach. And I'm just going to settle in here. So I'm in a little bit better alignment on this side than the other side. You might notice that with yourself too. Sides are different. And then from here, I'm just going to sit up and I'm just going to kind of take that hook and rub for at least the first minute. In addition to helping the fascia, the connective tissue, open up a little bit, doesn't it just feel good to just give you this little soft little scrub and massage here? You can also do this to yourself too as a means of self-care. You don't have to do it during a yin yoga practice or anything. Remember, you want your knee to be grounded. So if you need to sit higher, please sit higher. And you might notice you've got a tighter side, a more open side. Maybe they're both just cranky today. That's always fine. Completely normal. Good. Now from here, you can stay upright if this is where you need to be. Those of you that are going to play with coming back a little bit more, maybe you take your hands back here. Okay. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe you're going to come all the way back here. Good. I'm just going to just a little bit here. Remember, a floating knee is a risky knee, so we don't want to have that. You also add more risk the more back you go. So you do that in steps if that's somewhere you want to go. And some of us, we're not just meant to lie back on our backs here with or without support. So always be mindful of your body. You might notice that this pose is completely different and done a different way on one side versus the other. So maybe you have to be upright on one side, but you can lie back a little bit on the other side. Also completely normal. We do what we can do, and we don't worry about the rest. Remember, it'll all be okay. It'll all work itself out. Good. And there's our 3 minutes. So from here, good. I'm going to take my hands back. I'm going to nod my chin because we never want the head to just hang back willy-nilly in space when we're moving. And then from here, I'm going to roll over to my left side. I'm going to carefully release, or rolling over to my right side rather, to release my left side. And then I'm just going to rub here. Good. All right. Before we come onto our back, to finish up there, let's get a supported side bend today. We'll make the best use of this bolster cushion. So I am going to move my folded blanket out of the way. You might still need to use a supported blanket, and that's okay. And I'm going to take my bolster sideways. Good. And then I'm going to, good, we'll reset here. This one is just going to be a couple minutes on each side. So from here, I'm sitting right up against. Your legs can do whatever they need to do to make you feel comfortable. So that might not be what I'm doing, but you know, you do you. And then from here, I'm just going to kind of fold myself over here. So I don't want any spaces. And some of you might need a folded blanket or two on top here as well. And that's also okay. But I'm just going to be right here. And I'm going to take my top arm up just so I get a little bit more opening for the side. And you might notice yourself coughing here too as you release. We hold more in this heart space than we realize a lot of the time. So sometimes on this side, usually it happens on my other side. So we'll see if it does today. Good. Coming back to your intention, always the breath. Even though we're side lying and we're supported, we're still supporting our core. So we want to jump that, not jump, but draw up and in from the pubic bone behind the navel. Good. So from here, when you're ready, take a hand, take that top hand in front of you on something, carefully press yourself up. Good. Now you've been down there for a while, so give yourself a moment if you need it. I'm just going to move my bolster to the other side as I move my legs to the other side. Good. I'm going to pull this all the way in close. Again, do your legs how you need to do them on this side in a comfortable position. And then whenever you're ready, we're just going to fold over. Remember, we don't want any space under here, so we want everything to be nice and supported. Good. I'm going to take my top arm up and over. And I'm going to breathe and expand here. Stay with the breath. Stay with your intention. So from here, carefully take that top hand in front and carefully press yourself up. Good. All right, so give yourself a moment. We're going to come onto our backs now, and we're going to stay there for the rest of the time. So I'm going to move my bolster out of the way. Good. And then we're just going to come onto our backs here. And this one, if you want to bring in a neck cushion, and I'm going to do that with a folded blanket here too, you can bring that in just to make it a little bit more comfortable. Good. So from here, we're going to do a real quick hamstring stretch, and then we're going to come into happy baby or happy adult and get a nice Shavasana. So you can start by keeping a bend in your left knee, or you can extend that leg long and strong. That's just going to kind of depend on you. I'm going to take the hands behind my right hamstring. And some of you, this might be the extent. Some of you might be able to travel up higher. Body grounded, so we're not curving anything. You can do a gentle tug in towards the spine, maybe a point and flex through the foot, maybe a rolling of the ankle in one direction and then the other. Always keep a little micro bend in the knee. We don't want to lock it out. Good. And then while we're here, just spread those toes wide and squeeze them together a few times. Good. From here, we're going to release. We'll take that to the other side. So bend in the right knee, or you can take that right leg long. Be where you need to be. Hands are going to go here on this left side where they can, which might be closer to the hip. That might be higher towards the ankle. Find where you need to be. And again, a little micro bend in the knee. You can point and flex through that foot. You can roll that ankle in one direction and then the other. And then from here, when you're ready, spread those toes wide and squeeze together a few times. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll carefully release. Good. We're going to come into happy baby now. So I'm just going to bring my knees into the chest. My knees, I'm just going to open to where they're a little bit more in line with my shoulders. And then some of you might actually stay here today in happy adult. So the feet don't touch, but maybe you grab at the ankles or the shin. You're still getting a nice hip opener here. Or maybe you take yogi toe, yogi foot, and take your feet towards the ceiling here, taking a nice gentle pressure towards the floor. Now, wherever you're choosing here, take it for, or not take it, but lengthen from crown to tail a little bit so belly button comes into the spine. Good. We'll be here for about 3 minutes. If you need to come out of something before, that's fine. And if you like to rock your adult or rock your baby, if you want that motion, feel free to take that too. Just like everything else, as you settle in, your body will want to come deeper here into the hip on the exhale. As long as that's safe, you can allow it. There we go. And when you're ready, carefully release. Good. And just take one leg long in front of you. That'll feel really good. Take the other leg long in front of you. Reach behind you. Just get a full body stretch here for a moment. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to come into a short Shavasana here. So you can bring in any props that you'd like to have. So my bolster's close, so I'm just going to bring that in. I'm just going to let my legs come across there. Good. You can be on your belly, on your side, knees bent. So you can let everything flop open traditionally. Be where your body needs you to be. And then once you decide where you're going to go, can you make yourself about 10% more comfortable? And I'll leave you here for a few moments. Taking some deep breaths here. Choose stillness or gently take head and neck from side to side. Choose stillness or invite movement of the fingers and the toes, maybe running thumbs along the edges of the fingertips. Choose stillness or maybe taking knees into the chest, choosing to keep the upper body grounded, or maybe you want to tuck that chin and lift it into a little bit of a hug. And choosing stillness or moving any props out of the way if you used any for Shavasana time today. Taking legs long in front of you, arms long behind you, and reach and lengthen from the edge of the fingertips, the edge of the toes. Full body stretch, point and flex the feet. Bend and stretch through the hands, twirling wrists and ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then from here, whenever you're ready, carefully bending in both knees, and you choose rolling over onto your right or left side, the side that works best for your body in this moment. Staying here as long as you need to before you come up. When you're ready, carefully coming up to that comfortable seat. Maybe the same one you started with, maybe a different one. Good. And then when you find a little bit of length, just kind of notice how you feel. Hopefully better than when we started. Fingertips to the side, palms turning up. Inhale, reach, 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 and lengthen. Touching palms together. Exhale, hands and heart center. Connecting with that intention you made for yourself one more time. Everything will be okay and work itself out, or your own. We'll take thumbs to the forehead for good and true thoughts. To our lips for good and kind words. And to our hearts for open and loving hearts. Knowing no effort on this mat is ever wasted, no gain is ever reversed. May you be safe, may you stay well, may you have a wonderful day, evening, your week ahead. Namaste.